Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's show. It's actually kind of a big show for us tonight. First of all, it's episode number 176, which is pretty freaking cool. But secondly, this is the first show in the post-Gabriel Bousquet era, I guess you could say. Gabe has become extremely busy. And you guys have seen over the past couple of weeks, sometimes he can make it, sometimes he can't, and he's just super busy. So, you know, to lighten the load of somebody like himself who is, trust me, I know he's very busy. He's my partner in the loft and a bunch of other things, and he's still going to be helping out Daytripper and being involved in the community, but there has to be some give somewhere. So Phil is here with us. Hello, Phil.
Hi.
Hey, and we're going to continue on and probably bring in some cool, fun new guests and do some different things, but nobody can ever replace Gabe. Gabe is awesome. Wish you all the luck in the world, dude. We loved having you on. Thank you so much for the past 4 years doing the show with me. Gabe really helped me do the whole thing right from scratch. So much props to you, buddy. Thank you so much for the past 4 years. And maybe we can get you on once in a while. Door's always open to you anytime you want to come back. Thank you, sir. But tonight, we're talking about something different. Tonight, we do our photo review. The photo review for the Photo Theme Canada. Now, what do you think of when you think of a photo for Canada, Phil?
It's hard to say. I imagine a couple things, and I think some of them have been posted. I would imagine a hockey player playing hockey on a rink made of maple syrup, the double-double.
With Tim Hortons banners on the back. Yeah,
exactly. But that's kind of a tricky question because everyone's Canada's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But you think of the big things that we're known for.
And we got some photos of the big things, which
Absolutely.
is great. But we got some other photos that we didn't really expect to see. Some fun twists to the theme. So we're going to get into that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I always like these review shows. And, of course, just so everybody who is watching knows, a great part of a show like this is the fact that it's live, which means that if you have any questions, post them. Say hi to us in the Q&A. Let us know you're watching. The Q&A is all part of the Hangout. So if you hover your mouse over the window that you're watching and along the left side over here, there'll be a thing that says Q&A. Click it. On the right side, post your comments. Let us know what you're thinking. If you have any thoughts of our comments that we make on the photos, again, let us know, because as Gabriel always says, if we're right, if you think we're right, then we're right, and if you think that we're wrong, then you're right. So
exactly.
Photography is wide open for interpretation. Our goal here isn't to say you're good or bad. Our goal is merely to say, have you thought of this? Have you seen it from this perspective? In my experience, this is how I feel, and maybe that helps, maybe not. We'll see. To recap the current winners, the top point earners, I'd like to say. I don't want to call winners and losers. What do you think, Phil? I think just point earners.
Point earners sounds good, because at the end of the day, it's what it's all about, posting things, showing off what you can do, and learning and expanding. And I got to say, over the last couple months that I've been on this, has it been? It's been a long time, actually.
Yeah, it has been.
Because I've been here since Jan anyway. Put that over there. I've seen people start posting, and from what they posted, originally to now, I've seen people grow immensely, and it's awesome to see. And it's something that I would like to see continue, and I'd like to see more people, posting so that we can see as you improve, because that, I think, is the best part of all of this, is watching people just get better and better and better and better and better.
That's what we get the most enjoyment from. Absolutely. Just seeing that. Okay, so to recap, Blake Zimmerman is currently in the lead with 6 points. Christine Small is in second place with 4 points. And in third place is my buddy, Emil Constantine. And again, I know Blake. Blake's a great guy. He's been on our show many times. These are not picked because we know people. These are picked because we enjoy the photos. So Blake, good job on your shot. It was beautiful. Christine, you've mentored Christine a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, she took one of the courses out in the Oshawa store, and she's been sending me kind of some of the pictures that she's been shooting, and she's been doing a really, really good job. And I'm actually really happy to see her posting into this and seeing everything that she's been accomplishing so far. And I look forward to seeing what else she's going to post and what else she's going to be shooting. She's doing a really, really good job.
Very creative. I love the ideas that she's coming up with too. And Emil was one of the students when I was at the McMichael Art Gallery doing a photo camp this past winter-ish. It was wet and cold, so I'm thinking it was around then. Anyway, great guy, one of the students there. In fact, one of the other students, Nick, we're going to have on the show pretty soon, actually. I emailed him just the other day, see if Nick wants to be a guest coming up in a week or two. So that'll be really cool. Yeah, we've got the Q&A going. Robert says hello for a little while. I guess Robert's always on the road. Robert is a limo driver, so he's gets a call, got to go. That's how he rolls. And Jason is watching. Hello, everyone. Good day to you. Phil, can you see the Q&A?
I can. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Had the chat window open or something. All right, cool. So before we get into the show, the photo review part of the show, I just want to remind everybody to join the Daytripper Photo community if you haven't already. This is on Google+, where we have our main hub of folks who love photography. It's a private community, so if anybody gets out of line, be gone, because we want to make sure that everybody is comfortable and everybody is feeling free to contribute. And I think that's a big problem that you have in a lot of different communities is you get some people who tend to dominate a conversation or, make some people feel uneasy in some situations, and we try and curb that. And I'm not going to say that we're going to totally censor, because obviously free speech is important, but at the same time, we want to make this a creative and fun environment for everybody. So that's why we keep it private and we moderate it the way we do. If you're interested in joining this really cool group of people, lots of people from York region here in Newmarket and the surrounding area, Toronto, of course, there's people from all over the world because it's an international kind of thing, this interwebs idea that somebody invented. Who invented the internet?
I would want to say CERN, but I think they might have started the intranet and then that expanded from there. But I'm not 100% sure.
I really didn't even expect you to know. I was just throwing it out there. Funny world we live in. Okay, and don't forget, if you do like the show, please click like right there below on the YouTube thing that you're watching. Share this with your friends. Let people know we're doing it. We've done many shows. We hope to do many more. Oh, yes, Andrew. It was Bob who said it, who invented the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what Andrew said. Bob invented the internet. Works for me. Does it really matter? I mean, it's not like the internet's important to anybody.
Yeah, hardly use the thing.
Hardly use it.
I haven't used it. I'm not using it right now. It's fine.
And of course, we already mentioned it, but the Q&A is wide open for everybody to have something to say. Please let us know anything you want to say. Please, even you, Phil, if you want to say something. You got anything coming up?
Well, there's a couple exciting things that might be coming up in the near future. But what we'll do is we'll get on to the photo review, and then at the end, I'll bring up a little bit of information, and then I'll be posting to the community in the coming couple of days.
Yeah, because there is something really cool coming up. Stay tuned to watch and find out more about that, guys. Phil's being very secretive right now. So that's okay. Okay, and the last thing before we get to the actual review of the show, I really want to thank our sponsors, Sennheiser, who is just, come on, the Sennheiser. If you don't know about their headphones, check out the show that we did, the headphones and microphones. We did it a few months ago with Sennheiser rep Justin Alt on our show. It was a lot of fun talking about it, learning a lot about microphones, and I got a kick out of that show. Actually, to this day, I'm using a lot of the stuff I learned from that show when I'm talking to customers at Henry's. So, yeah, learn a lot from this stuff. And Sennheiser is a great company, and they really helped us out. And, of course, lensPens. Who doesn't love lensPens? Phil. Who?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Even my mother-in-law loves lensPens. It's true. She uses the Peeps to clean her glasses all the time. She doesn't like
those. They're an awesome idea. I will have a slightly interesting story. So the other day, I'm on Instagram. So I was going through my Instagram feed, and I actually follow lensPens on Instagram. And I was going through, and I saw a post that lensPens posted of you.
I know, right?
And it was a video of you showing how to clean a sensor with the lensPens kit. But I found it kind of funny because it was like the lensPens actual Instagram sharing a video of you, and I'm like, I know that guy.
It was, yeah, that's pretty cool. I love when I shared it to Instagram, just a small clip of just cleaning the sensor part, but the overall video is one of my Did You Know videos, and it was like just lensPens in general. So I was talking about the pens, I was talking about the sensor clean kit, and I shared with them the full video, and they put it out there. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, anyway, they're just a great company, and everybody should have a lens pen to clean their stuff. And also, Cotton Carrier, and they have their shipment coming to me of some really cool belt holsters and hand straps that we're going to be giving away for the photo challenges, which is kind of what we're talking about right now. So for the quarterly winners, you're going to get yourself either or a Cotton Carrier hand strap or the Cotton Carrier hip holster, ranging from about $20 to $80 for these things. So excellent gifts that we're giving out for our photo challenge, and I can't wait to get to that. So why don't we? What do you think?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Do you want to do a screen share, or would you like me to?
Oh, you can do it. Let me get this sorted out here.
Lovely. So to go over the rules with everybody one last time, the photo review that we do, the photo challenges that we do, they're intended to challenge you. We give you one word. You have to interpret that however you want, make a photo that you feel applies to the photo challenge. This month's, or I guess it's 3 weeks that we rotate this, because there's the photo review show, then we have the banter show, then we have a tips and techniques show, and we rotate these shows so that you always have something fresh and new. And yeah, this is the review show. So from today, you will have 3 weeks to do the next photo challenge that we issue at the end of the show, which I already know what it is, and I'm very happy about. I can't wait, because it kind of relates to what we have coming up on Sunday. So yeah, let's get to it. You've got your photos open there, eh, Phil?
I do. You can see them?
Yes, I can see them.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to start with this one here.
Yeah, and if anybody, again, who's watching wants to chime in with your 2 cents, or a nickel, I guess, now with inflation, go right ahead and use the Q&A and let us know what you think. So this is Steven's shot.
Yep.
Now, Steven's been posting more regularly, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been on several day trips lately, and it's great to see how active he is. I love this. I mean, to me, this is Canada hockey, right? It's
absolutely.
Our sport.
And it's red and white.
Yeah, very contrasty. Stands out really nice.
Yeah.
Red and white for Canada. Yeah, exactly. Now, what do you think?
I like this shot. I like the tightness of it, the tight framing, that we don't have the entire hockey player, because I think it would look kind of out of place. I like that we're tied up in on her. We're kind of looking at things from her perspective, which is kind of nice. And I like that it's not completely level. It almost seems like it's slightly off. But just, I don't know. I feel like it gives a little bit of kind of action to the shot.
He mentioned to me, I don't know if he mentioned it to me or posted it. He may have posted it. But he said that it was kind of a happy accident, this photo. Like he was actually trying to focus on the face-off. Okay. And then the skater got in the shot and it quickly adjusted because you're on continuous focus. I think it's a neat, happy accident, though, because Absolutely. I actually prefer the focus on the player looking into the face-off than if I had seen the face-off itself. Having shot hockey many, many times, I've shot every face-off so intently, like, oh my God, something cool is going to happen. And rarely do you actually get a face-off that looks like awesome, right? With that puck exactly where you want it and so on. So having a story behind it, like what Steven captured, I think is a really good addition to this. What do you think about the framing, though, along the left side?
See, I'm split on that. And I kind of like the empty space because I think it provides that that kind of contrast to it, draws your eye more to the actual player itself. But if you now I'm waving my hands in front of my face, and of course,
I noticed that. That was good.
If you do pull it a little tighter, it also does work. So you could go both ways on that.
It's a tough call. I mean, obviously, composition choices are up to the person who shot it, not the people who are watching it. If you prefer the way it is, boom, done. But I don't know. I'm kind of trained I don't know if I'm trained to do it or I just do it and I'm trained to notice it. But yeah, the bright spots pull my eye away from a subject. So exactly what you just did there, by going in just a bit and getting rid of the left side, you're getting rid of a lot of the white, which is kind of keeping my eye back to the player on the right. Okay. Can you when you're ready, just kind of zoom back out again and
absolutely
see the difference that makes? It's minor, right?
Yeah, it is just a little bit, and you can't crop in too far. Because you got pretty tight framing up here on the head, and you don't want to cut that off.
And you want the number in the frame too. But even if you just drag the left over, make an 8x10 out of it instead of a wide crop, like it's tough in the window you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm not as fast as Gabriel, popping it into editing software.
Yeah, right. Well, and again, I don't really want to open up other people's photos and edit them for them unless they give us permission, of course.
But it's good both ways. The one thing, and we were kind of looking at it a bit before, is maybe just, and it would be a very, very fine line, because with just that color in the shot, it would be very easy to overdo it. But just, again, making hand motions, just the tiniest little bit more saturation, just to pop that color a bit more.
It's exactly what I'm thinking. And with reds are really difficult too. And if you go too far, it just goes to like pure red.
Yeah.
And you lose all the texture of the material and so on. So I agree with you. I think just a bit of saturation and it would just pop that little bit more.
Yeah. But like the tiniest bit.
Cool shot though. Excellent.
Absolutely. I like it.
Thank you, Steve, for submitting it. Very cool.
And we'll go to Rosemary next.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna pop this one open here.
This is a really, really interesting shot. Conceptually, it's brilliant.
I really like the idea of it. It kind of makes me feel like the West Coast, like the BC area where you have the totem poles and that kind of thing.
And kind of, as she said, it's her Canadian spirits, right? So you have the spirits of Indians dancing on the field, but they are transparent. I'm thinking that they were probably cloned into the shot. And man, you don't see a lot of composite photos from me. And the reason for that is because I'm not good at it. And the last thing I want to do is share one of my shots that I've cloned something in and somebody notice it. You know what I mean, Phil?
Mm-hmm.
And in a photo like this, I mean, you can kind of tell that there's some cloning going on, and it's so tough to do it well. It's tough to do it. But conceptually, that's why I love this photo, because I love the story behind it. I'm wondering about a few things. What do you think?
I agree. I like the story behind it. It immediately kind of feels like Canada. Again, I can imagine it is kind of hard to book a trip to the West Coast in a 3-week span to take a picture. We don't expect people to do that. But
although if you want to,
yeah, more than welcome to. I'll tag along.
Yeah, right.
But I like the idea of it. I like the fact that the we'll call Native Americans are actually translucent, because it kind of brings that spirit feeling to the shot. But I do get what you're saying about the the cloning in or the adding or composite side of the picture.
And
I mean, terrible at that as well. I tried to do one of Lindsay and I at the front of a Titanic.
Oh,
that Titanic, just because it'd be kind of funny. Didn't work out at all.
Do it in the real Titanic. That would be even funnier, because that would just be deep.
Oh dear, too soon.
I know, right? Still too soon.
9 years ago or something.
All right. But what I noticed right off the bat in the shot, and again, it's not to just pick apart, but it looked like there might have been a power line across the top that was cloned away. And the entire top of the photo, there's a clone line. Do you notice that there, Phil?
Yeah, kind of coming across here.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by it's so difficult to do these kinds of things. I'm not very good at it myself, so I generally try and do all like what's in front of me, right?
But when it comes down to composites like this and doing more technical edits, I think the biggest thing is practice. And like starting to get into composites and basically making pictures. It is a lot of practice, and
this is a big undertaking in this shot. I mean, you got to give Rosemary a lot of credit for taking that on.
And so I like how transparent these are. Like, you don't see the original whatever was behind it.
Right.
It looks like it belongs there, which is awesome. And that is a very challenging thing to do, and something that I personally usually can't do.
Yeah.
And so it's a great idea and a great concept. And continuing to practice will mean that you'll get that much better as you go forward. So if there's anything to take from it, it is that you're on the right track, and that is just continue working on the ideas. And
absolutely.
Come together, as you move forward.
Well said. And thank you so much, Rosemary, for submitting it. Very cool. What else do we got here?
So for Jerry, we have 2 pictures, and we were both kind of on agreement of the one that I think we liked. They're both nice, except I think this one, I don't know, something about fall
Hang on. Sorry, I have to interrupt you for a quick second.
It's okay.
Oh, there she goes. Sorry, I had to Dixie for a second. She was in the window and she was screaming. I think there might be a bug up there because she was going a little bit nutty. Sorry, Jerry. I Dixied for a second. I didn't squirrel. All right.
And so I like this picture. I like the fact that he shot it from underneath the leaf, or at least I think it's underneath the leaf. You get the detail in that leaf is awesome. And you see all the veins in the leaf, all the little details, the actual almost like fabric of the leaf, I guess. And I think it's like super sharp. It's really nice.
It's amazing because the other photo he posted was taken in a different angle. Yeah, and it's such a different image looking at a leaf straight on like this versus underneath. I noticed the other day I was looking out my backyard window and it was just the right time of day, and the light was hitting the sides of the leaves instead of coming straight down on top of the leaves. And it is such a difference based on, because of where the light's coming from. And oh man, it was just a really great moment. So timing is so important for when you take photos of trees. And I think obviously, as we see with this photo here from Jerry, angle is very important. What angle the light is reflecting on or shooting through. So these are all really good takeaways from both of Jerry's photos that he posted. Now this one, you made some really good points on it, and I agree with everything. It's sharpness, and I love the light coming through. I'm a little bit torn with the whole center of the frame kind of thing. And Phil and I talked before we went live about how we might approach this. And my thought was, take away from the right a little bit and bring up from the bottom a little bit, and just kind of keep that top left corner with the two leaves, because I like those two leaves the way they're lit up. But Phil had a different idea, and I think we kind of made a compromise in our discussion. But why don't you take over there, Phil?
Well, like there's two ways of I would say cropping. There's a way where we have these two leaves be the main point of your shot, and there's the way of just making this leaf the point of your shot. And both can work. Both are right ideas. This is the right idea. Why is that so? Oh, sorry, my nose got really large for a second. This is the right idea. So all three are viable pictures, and it's just kind of expanding on the idea that three different people are going to see three different shots, and whether it's this shot and I keep trying to zoom in, and I realize that it doesn't zoom in to a small square. It just changes rectangle shapes. So we can't get rid of the bottom,
and it's not what we're really talking about, how to crop this particular shot.
We want to maybe get a little bit of this off, and then a little bit of that off, so that you have this leaf in the bottom right corner and this leaf in the top left corner. Or you could get a bit more of this and have just basically this leaf as the main part of your picture, and then have an empty space drawing your eye to the leaf. Both work.
But I think the neat thing is you've got a lot to work with in this shot.
Absolutely.
And the sharpness of the leaf is key. And that's what I've noticed too. Like there's some photos that I've made in the past, and I love the photo, but it wasn't sharp. And it just didn't pop because it didn't have that sharpness where you needed it. And it's heartbreaking, but it's just like, delete, But when you have the sharpness and you can go this way or go that way, you have so many different things you can get away with that it's just think it, try it out, see what you think. Go back to the original if you didn't like what you did, and play around with it. It just gives you a really good database of experience to work with.
I like the shadows on the tips of the leaf.
Yeah, me too. It gives it depth, right?
Absolutely.
Very nice. Right. Good light, Jerry.
And then we're going to go up to this one first.
Connie's? Sure.
Start with this one, then we'll go over to the right.
It's funny. Phil and I had a minor debate as well. Are we going to call you Dr. Connie Miller, or are we going to call you Connie Miller? And he goes, what does the watermark say? And it's like, oh, Connie Miller. Okay, so there you go. No disrespect given.
And so we were talking about this picture before. I like this picture because, and partly because of the description you gave. And so normally I look for bird pictures. Usually you get a static shot. I like the kind of energy you have in this picture, and I like that you described that it was kind of fighting over territory, and that added the meaning to the energy of the shot. I get you. It's a lot going on though,
got a lot of motion, got a lot of sharpness. And that's a big thing that I enjoy. It's kind of one of my things. I like sharpness and motion in the same shot. I'm noticing two things. I want to say I love this photo, and I love the thought of this photo. You've got sharpness on the feet, and Phil, you know as well as I do how hard that is to get. Yeah. Right, anywhere on a bird that's moving, getting sharpness. But I can't connect with the bird because the eyes aren't tack sharp. And they say, you know, if you have a photo of a person or an animal, always have that leading eye nice and clear. So it's, I can't even imagine even trying to do anything better than what you have already, of course, because it's really good. But the fact that we're here to give some input, right? So if that shutter speed could have been a little bit quicker, maybe possibly by maybe shooting with a smaller depth of field to get more of the bird in focus three-dimensionally, that might have given us that eye in focus again. Other than that, the tip of the wing, kind of missing where the tip is and where the bird might be flying into. Do you know what I mean, Phil?
I do. Now I can decide on the other side of things because I'm okay with a little bit of softness in the eye because of the energy of the shots. And I think it is framed nicely because we do have that empty space here. So what I look for when I see a picture of, you know, an animal or a person not looking directly at you is area for them to look, or in this case, area for it to move. Right. So I do like that there is some empty space here, but I do get what you're saying that a little wider, getting the end of the wing in could work as well. Now it can be hard because when you're zoomed all the way in, shooting a picture of a moving bird, you're not sure what the thing's going to do next.
For sure.
But I like it. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, and you made a good point there. You know, zooming all the way in. Sometimes you don't want to zoom all the way in. Sometimes you want to leave a bit of space that you can crop in afterward, right? Because if you don't know where the bird's going to go, leaving some space to go up, down, left, or right can make the difference between when you get your final result, having the entire bird in the shot or a partial bit. Now, hey, I do this all the time. I shoot wrestling, and when I'm shooting a wrestler in the ring and he's running around or he lifts a guy up and does a slam, I crop the feet off all the time, and it pisses me off. I try and remind myself, shoot wide, but then, you know, I shoot at 10 millimeter, and
it's not much wider you can get.
Horrible.
Now, you were talking about something when we were on the Birds of Prey trip, and it was looking around your viewfinder, and not necessarily, you know, for this picture, but mainly just bringing it back up for everyone who, you know, wasn't there. That when you're shooting, looking at everything around your subject and looking at the corners and the edges of your shot is just as important as the actual subject itself. And so as everyone's shooting, you know, keeping an eye on the edges, making sure there's nothing weird going on, making sure that half your subject's not missing or the toes aren't missing, can be a very good practice to get into and help you. Just a little thing, and it will help kind of improve your shooting, regardless what you're shooting, whether it's this or a potentially large, potentially small scarecrow in a field.
I do have to warn
the next shot, which is, I thought it would be, but I don't think it is the next one.
It is coming soon.
I'm trying to make a segue to
it. Good effort. Good effort. I do want to warn everybody, though. There's a public service message that we have to give you. When you start up photography and you start paying attention to the details, it may ruin other aspects of your world because you start seeing everything and you start paying attention to all these little subtleties that you would have just kind of let go before. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, man, I just wish I had done this, or I wish my picture looked like this instead of this, or whatever, right?
That's why I don't look at any previous pictures I've shot.
Never, ever. You just take the pictures and you're done with them.
Yeah. I had a computer crash a while ago, and that saved me from looking at pictures when I first started shooting. So problem solved.
Blake is watching. He says, for the bird photo, just a quick look. Seems like the branch and both feet are in focus. So I think the eye is in the focal plane, but could be camera shake or motion blur. Yeah, you know, it's probably just that shutter speed, that fine line of the shutter speed, that the head moving a little bit created sharpness, and the feet were a little more planted, and that gave sharp. Or the head was sharp, the feet were sharp, and the head was blurry. I know what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter if you know what I'm trying to say. It's just it's not like you have to just listen to me or anything. And hey, how you doing, Blake? Blake's such a great guy. When I told him that Gabriel is no longer on the show, Blake starts looking around for co-hosts. So Blake was probably going to be on the show every once in a while because he has been in the past, and he's just a great guy. So thank you very much. All right, Phil, where are we at?
We're at Lori's.
Yeah.
So let you start with this one. I think I've jumped in the last couple.
Sure.
Couple
okay.
months.
Now the comments in the beside the photo here, Jerry says beautiful color and beautiful light through the leaf. I agree with all that. When I was looking through here, my first thought was beautiful color. I love the contrasting colors. I like the detail in the leaf. I like all the leading lines or the lines themselves of all the greenery, the twigs, I guess, connecting the stuff. And I really enjoyed the photo. But then when I made it larger, I noticed there's like a texture that was added to it. And I'm curious what the texture is because it's almost pulling me away from the story of the leaf. And I don't want to take away from a creative choice that Lori made. But for me, it almost looks like it's a dirty texture rather than an addition to the image. Does that make sense to you, Phil?
That it does.
It does. Sorry.
And it is on that fence because it is adding that kind of like I want to call it kind of like a crunchiness to the leaf almost, which is kind of nice. But again, it is kind of distracting it being in kind of just the greenish areas of the shot.
Mm-hmm.
But expanding on what you're saying about the twig, I do like the fact you have it leading your eye in towards the leaf, and you bring your eye in over here, it leads you in back to the leaf. So I do like that.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and the redness is nice and sharp, and there's lots of colors across the entire leaf, from dark red to light orange to red to burgundy.
Yeah, there's lots of nice different shades of the reds in there. One of the things that's just popped into my head, and I'm sorry to cut you off there, but
that's okay.
One of the things that just literally popped into my head, we did a macro class with Don last year. We did 3 of them, and we're doing another one actually coming up next month. But Don Komarechka does this macro photography, and one of the things he says is there is no right side up in macro.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the shot with the leaf coming downward, I'm wondering what it would look like if we're able to rotate it 180 degrees and have it going upwards and have the line going from the bottom left to the top right. I think that would be a really subtle change that would make a huge difference in the shot, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm actually just holding my head upside down to try and look at it. And
the chair move.
I do like that idea that there is no right way up when you're shooting macro, and it's a little world. It's a piece of the world, and it can be in any way you want it to be.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the one thing I would probably suggest and or add to the shot would be this part here, the little leaf,
right?
With the leaves. I don't know if it would take. I don't want to zoom in. It's going to do that again, isn't it? I don't know if it would take away from anything, but I'd want to get in and try and use like a brush or something to either make them a little softer or make them a little darker so they're not distracting away from the leaf.
Yeah, a little bit bright is what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Contrasty, drawing you away from it.
Yeah. Other than that, I do like the colors of the leaf, and I do like the idea of rotating it.
It just popped into my skull. There it was.
Can I do that? Nope.
Now, turn your computer upside down, Phil.
I don't know that. I was actually thinking of rotating the screen, but I think that might just rotate it for me and not translate through the internet.
It totally would. That's funny. Okay. Anything else to add to Lori's shot?
Oh, sorry. No, I think I like it.
Good to go. Awesome. I love the color.
Yeah, definitely.
It's one of those things that the second you see it, you're drawn to it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. Okay.
What do we have next? To Taylor's picture, I believe.
Taylor's. So, I don't know. I hate this photo. What about you?
I
How can you hate a photo of a puppy? It's so cute.
It looks like it's a little Cocker Spaniel, possibly. Cockapoo, maybe. Looking out over Toronto.
I just want to grab the dog's face and go, boogie, 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 boogie. No, it's beautiful photo. Great sharpness in the eye. And this is what I was saying before, how when you're shooting an animal or you're shooting a human, the leading eye is the eye that you want to have in focus. And that's what we've got. Beautiful reflection of the whatever it sees through the window in its eye. Great detail in the face, and it's neat. This was shot at f8, and there's still that nice shallow depth of field that you get from perspective being used. Very close to the dog, very far away from Toronto. Well, maybe not very far, like compared to where China is, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And perspective-wise, you get that nice depth of field, and great work. What do you think?
I like it. I like, it looks like the dog's looking out at the city itself. The only thing I don't like about this picture, and there's not really much you can do to change it unless you want it to get super fancy into cloning and healing. Not a big fan of this grown other dog's face, but having dogs and trying to take pictures of them and having them not cooperate whatsoever, I appreciate that sometimes you have to go with things that don't want to cooperate with you. But I do like the fact that it's just the dog's head. It's not the rest of the dog. If it was the rest of the dog looking into the room here, having the room here, I think it would take away from the shot. I like the fact that it's weighted more on what's outside the window.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you say that because I never even thought about that line that you mentioned. I was more thinking about the bottom, more of a crop like what I have here. Yeah,
absolutely. I see what you're getting at. Just get rid of the bottom part of, I keep calling this a boat. I have no idea if it's a boat. What potentially could be a boat.
I would say it's probably some sort of boat.
Yeah, I do like that because it gets rid of that bottom and then it's just looking at the dog in the city.
Yeah, there's nothing distracting at the bottom there. And I didn't even think about that growing out of its eyes, but now that's all I see.
Sorry.
It's ruined for me.
I like this picture, though.
Yeah, I do, too.
And I think is this Taylor's first picture?
I don't know if it's the first photo. I think it might be a second.
Okay.
But it's great.
Absolutely. I like it. And keep posting.
It got lots of +1s, I'll tell you that.
There we go.
13 of them, including me. All right, so let's move along. Unless you have something else to add?
I don't want to sound like I'm picking on the shot, but just as and we're going to expand on this, I think, with the next shot a little bit. But if there's anything in a shot you don't want, hold on. Okay. Like little dots on windows or something like that, or these scratches, you can make them go away. Mm-hmm. They are a bit of a finicky pain to deal with, especially anytime you're shooting through glass. But if you're comfortable enough with editing software, you could get in and start to remove things that you don't like, especially if you're going to do kind of a crop that you were looking at, where you get rid of the bottom part of the boat, because then any other little detail is going to get a little bit more
attention.
Evidence. Exactly, more attention. And the bigger thing that you'll see is if you have any type of sensor dust or any debris on your sensor, that's going to show up even more in your shot the tighter you go.
That's true. That's true. And, there's some tools out there that make it very easy. And it's the extra 10%, isn't it, Phil?
Well,
that's
I don't know.
The extra 10%.
Maybe.
I mean, you've got a great photo, and then you do a couple little changes, and it's just that much better.
Yeah. And it just gets to the point where, especially when we take a look at like something like woodworking. If anyone on here does woodworking, that sanding is a never-ending process. You could sand forever and just continue to sand, and you'll never be done. I would say the same thing can be applied to photo editing.
True.
You can edit a picture and it can be perfect. You can go grab a coffee and come back, and you'll find something to change. Mm-hmm. So it's a never-ending process. It's the point of ending when you're comfortable and at a point where you really like the shot. And it's very easy for us to sit here and look at a picture we've never seen before and find things in it that you could have sat there and you worked on the picture for a while and just completely missed because it's something you're staring at.
True.
Kind of like when you're looking for your keys and they're everywhere. They're never where you think they are, except for directly in front of you.
The forest for the trees, right?
Yep.
All right, so here's Jason's shot. Now, black and white is a fun thing to play with. You get mood, you can get contrast, you can get a timelessness to the photo. Mm-hmm. The theme here in this shot is old to new, I think is what it was, right?
I think so.
Let's see here. Old meets new. Yep.
Okay.
So old meets new. Now you had an interesting thought on that because it's kind of your field, so to speak.
Originally, if we go back far enough, and I just think it's kind of funny. We had an issue with the renewable energy industry a couple years ago in Canada, and so I think it's funny that renewable energy in a picture for Canada. But we have turned around a little bit. It looks like, and we have seen companies start up and start working and growing, which is good. And actually, just recently they announced something about electric cars and low-income people. I didn't read enough about it to comment on it, and we'll save that for the banter show.
Cool, yeah.
Or I'll conveniently forget about it for the banter show. But I like the shot. Now, the one thing I do want to point out, just because we've mentioned it a couple times, potentially because I was bringing it up for this, it is a good idea to clean your cameras regularly, and this is not a plug back to the video of Brian cleaning cameras.
Oh, yeah, great.
Something we noticed before, and just a little bit of dust on the sensor in the cloud, which is perfectly fine. My cameras are a mess. I should clean them more often than I do. And
I know a really good sensor cleaning kit that would actually work very well for you from lensPens.
There we go. But it's just a good idea to clean it every once in a while. And if you're never sure if you have sensor dust, easiest thing to do is to take a picture of a sky. Bright blue sky, cloudy day, doesn't matter. Take a picture of the sky, take a look at it on the back of the camera, and you'll see if you have any dots or dust.
And a little helper for that is close down the aperture as well. If you shut at a smaller aperture, which would be a bigger number, you would have more depth of field, which would also show more detail of whatever stuck to the sensor. Mm-hmm. And you can see in the EXIF information on this photo, if you open up photo details, this was shot at f32. So that's pretty much shut right down all the way. Yep. And I think what he was trying to do is create a longer shutter speed to get the motion in the wind in the fans.
Yep.
Because at an eighth of a second at 2:30 p.m., you're going to have a pretty bright photo. So to close the aperture down and to shoot at a low ISO was the exact perfect idea, unless you had a neutral density filter, which you could have used. That would have stopped even more light from getting through, which you may have used as well. Because, I mean, eighth of a second on a midday, that's a really, really long exposure to have some detail at all in the clouds.
Yeah. But I do like the idea of, the newfangled technology with the older, what I think is a manure spreader, in the field here. And I do like that the grass itself isn't just a sea of blurriness. So I like that it does still have a bit of detail. Because it'd be very easy to, push that too far and end up having the wind just blow everything and everything be kind of fuzzy. I was actually running into that on the weekend when I was doing some long exposure experimentation.
Oh, cool. Are you going to share some of
that? We can. I actually took a picture for the Canadian challenge. I was out on the weekend, actually on Monday. And can I just share my actual screen? Let me see.
You've got to close your screen share and do it again.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so first Taylor says, thank you. I appreciate your comments. We were on a boat, and she's a smooth-haired cockapoo.
There you go.
Beautiful dog. And also Jason says, I have never cleaned a sensor before, obviously. I will be into Henry's on Saturday for one. Thanks. Jason, I won't see you there on Saturday. That's too bad. I'm not going to be there myself. I would prefer, actually, if you can come when I'm there so I can actually clean the sensor for you, show you how to use the sensor kit, actually walk you through the proper process of using it. Unless you're good with that already, then just go in and talk to one of the guys at the store. Jen, she's a girl. Navi, she's a girl. Talk to somebody at the store and grab one of those sensor cleaning kits because they do work quite well. And if you need help, I'm always there to help you out with that. No problem. Yeah, Saturday I'm shooting an air show.
Ooh, exciting. Now, is this the one up in Barrie?
Base Borden.
Base Borden. Nice.
Yeah. It's 150th anniversary of their air show, and I'm going to be out on the tarmac, buddy.
Ooh. That sounds like it'll be a lot of fun.
We'll see how it goes. I'll be with good old Dr. Ross.
Okay.
Tell the world. All right, what's next?
This one, which is Maureen's.
Maureen's.
And we were going back and forth on this picture, and everything we were looking at, it just kept coming up with different things. Like, is that a tiny hat or a big hat on a scarecrow?
Yeah, really.
Shirt?
we're craving some perspective here, I think. I like what Joe's comment is. I salute you. Love the scarecrow. So this was on the way up to the 400. Interesting. It's a really neat little scarecrow, but I'd love to know how large it is, because either that's the world's smallest hat or one of the biggest scarecrows ever.
Yeah.
But either way, it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I like it.
You made some really neat points about lines in the photo.
So I like the pattern in the background. These lines that kind of bring your eye through the shot. It's just a nice kind of thing to see. It just brings you kind of the back of the shot, and then if you start at the back of the shot, the lines bring you directly up to the front. And so it gives you something to look at through the entire picture, which I think is really nice.
Now, at the same time, there's a lot going on in this shot. And it reminds me of the story that when I showed Martin the picture from Joker Hill with the fence and then the stuff behind it and then the stuff behind it, the first thing he said is, "You've got 3 photos here." And I was like, "What are you talking about, 3 photos?" He goes, "Yeah, you have a photo of the fence, you have a photo of the water in front of the fence, and you have a photo of the mountain behind the fence. And together, there's just too much going on." In this case, I'm not going to say there's too much going on, but what I will say is the sky in the top pulls me right up, right to the top of the shot. So I would actually try and crop the sky out. Even a tight crop, like almost like what you had there. Yeah, something like that. I mean, remember Phil just mentioned a few minutes ago about looking at the edges, paying attention to what's going on in the backgrounds and so on. And that white, the white, I don't know what it is, old RV or a building or something in the middle of a horizon right next to the left of the house there. Obviously, that's going to draw your eye away. So if you can, yeah, the way Phil's got the crop right there, it was something I was kind of thinking kind of like that. But again, it's very subjective. And I'm only saying this because contrast draws the eye, and you've got a very contrasty white thing next to the building, and you've got a very contrasty sky. And really the story here is the scarecrow. The background is just kind of scenery, background scenery, the old barn. But I think that scarecrow is what Maureen's really trying to show us. Yeah. Anything to add there?
No, I think we've pretty much gone over everything with it. I like it, though.
Cool.
I like the drawn on face.
And, you know, I'm going to give – oh, I didn't even see that. So cute. I'm going to give Maureen a lot of credit. She's working hard right now to, you know, get more out of her photography. And she's been on a couple day trips now, and she's been to the photo reviews, and she's interested, and I love it. So congratulations on this shot. I love that you pulled over to the side of the road to take the photo of something that caught your eye. And to me, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
All righty. What do we have next here?
So this one's not an official submission.
No, because I think it was taken in 2011.
Of looks like the PEI bridge.
Yeah.
But I think it's a picture Navi would like. You know, we got someone jumping.
That's a wicked. She's got a good jump on her.
It's a very large jump.
She is clearing that entire railing. I'm wondering if she jumped from the railing.
Could be.
Because that's a crazy high jump.
Yeah.
Love it. As you can tell, I was pretty excited, she says. That's so cool.
And so I'm just going to, Jessica next?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the politician's photo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Phil, you got to explain what I mean by that.
Well, as soon as I pulled this picture up, I'm like, hey, look, it's a picture of a politician. I don't remember what the comedian who said it. It was years and years ago, but someone had a joke, and he's like, how is the Canada goose Canada's national animal? Like, it sounds like Canada at the UN, because all it does is hiss and poop. It's like, hey, what's a delegate from Canada think?
It must be Joseph.
To be singing at that point.
Right.
And then
not Joseph Leduc. Joseph that I work with at Henry's makes all these sounds, and it's something to deal with. Anyway,
he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Now, okay, so for Jessica's photo, what represents Canada more than the Canada goose? This one let me get pretty close, even though I had no food and was close to the goslings, who were moving too fast in the fading light for me to get a good shot of. So A for effort, for sure. Chasing geese around isn't always the safest thing. They, as Phil says, hiss. They are aggressive.
Super aggressive. I think there's a video online, actually came out today, of a Canada goose attacking an eagle or an eagle attacking a Canada goose. Not sure how it goes, but probably not good for the eagle.
Probably not. Eagles are not the top of the food chain, I'm telling you. I would not mess with an owl, I'll tell you that much.
No.
All right, so this isn't an owl. This is a Canada goose, and this is a very cute Canada goose. I think it's an interesting use of light. It's tough to see. There's no EXIF info, so it's tough to see if it's soft because of a slow shutter speed or maybe processing.
But maybe size. I just realized that it is 73 kilobytes.
That's true, but it's still 1080 by 720 dimensions. I mean,
but that's not a lot of detail. So it's a lot of duplication, I think, a lot of softness.
That could be it.
I don't know.
Pixelation, maybe?
I'd want to know why it's so small. So I don't know how you export your pictures. In some situations, the software itself, whatever software you're using, will automatically shrink it down a lot. If you export for web and devices, I know Photoshop allows you to do that. Exporting for web and devices will usually shrink your picture down to the point where it looks relatively good on a screen. You just can't zoom in at all, as well as it will usually remove the EXIF data. So I'd want to take a look at how you're exporting and make sure that you're not squishing it down too much.
Good advice. Very good advice. What do you think of the photo itself?
I kind of like it. I like the goose is not directly centered. We have area where the goose is looking. I think black and white's an interesting option on it.
Why do you say that?
Depending what's going on in the background, it could help isolate the subject. Or Canada goose is usually kind of black and white anyway. The green in the background could add a little bit of liveliness to it. The stuff sticking out of its mouth, as green could kind of add a little bit of kind of fun to the shot. I like it sticking out of its mouth anyway, as you were saying before we came on.
Yeah. I mean, it's got stuff in its mouth. I think it's very cute. Like, I'm one of those guys. I look at the light in the photo, and the light on the goose is great, but that big old pond behind it, the big pool of white behind it, keeps pulling me away from the goose.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's okay. You okay? Smashing things.
I just tried to pull my sock up and my finger slipped and I hit my arm on the table. Don't mind me.
But I do like the kind of the backlighting on the goose. Like, it looks like you got a little bit of light coming around. It's helping separate from the background. So I think it works.
But either way you look at it, Jessica, thank you so much for submitting it. And you're absolutely right. I used to live in the States for quite a while, and every time I saw Canada goose, it brought me home. So, I've got the sentimental attachment to the image. I really appreciate you posting it. Very good. What do we have next?
We have a wrestling belt.
Oh,
I'm going to let you start on.
Okay, so this is the brand new Barry Wrestling belt. It's a gorgeous belt. They worked really hard to get this thing looking as good as it does. And Blake is one of the shooters that shoots it with me. So Canada, it's right there in the belt. So that's my take. It's a little dark for me, though. When I see this belt, I like it to pop, just like pop, because it's a really, really cool tone and texture. But it seems a little dark. And that could be just to keep the white in the flag from being too bright. And I think there might have been maybe a graduated filter on the back to darken up the back of it, because Blake knows that if something's too bright, it'll pull away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll pull away the eye. So by darkening up the back a little bit, it'll bring you back to the front where the flag is. Maybe that might have happened. But there's a little bit of an inconsistency to the darkness of the belt, which kind of made me think that might have been a dodge or a burn. Could be.
It could just be shiny in different areas. The biggest thing I'm curious about with this picture is sideways.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I kind of like it running off to the horizon, but I'm kind of curious what it would look like sideways.
I can show you.
I'm just turning my head sideways. Because that way the Canada flag's the right way up, but then you got a lot of empty space in the left side. And I think we, as visual people, like things running off into the horizon as opposed to across. I'm not sure. I think both work. I think it's a good shot.
Mhm.
And it definitely has a connection to well, the wrestling to you, because you immediately, as we were talking about it before, you know, kind of elaborate on what it was. And to me, it's a shiny metal belt.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point, because I know the wrestling. I see this, I immediately know where it's from. But did you get that same thing from it?
No, really, I knew it probably was wrestling because I've seen things where belts are involved,
Right.
but that's about it.
Hey, it could have been lip sync battle, right?
Okay, they have belts for that?
LL Cool J. No, you don't watch it.
No.
Yeah, they give a
TV.
belt.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's TV. You don't do that.
I prefer to find things and watch them one at a time.
Ah, got it.
But
Yeah,
on the whole, I do like it.
Sorry, I had a comment, but I'm
Okay.
anytime somebody says on the whole I like it, I think of Preparation H. But
Absolutely, yes.
sorry, I had to go there.
Chocolate ice cream.
God. Okay, so here we are. We're on to the next photo. This is Christine's actual submission.
Oopsies. Sorry.
You just hit your arm on something trying to pull your sock up?
No, I'm dropping things on my desk.
Okay.
I like this picture because it I don't know why, just hockey, skating. It just makes me think of like old ponds and, skating around and, just kind of Canada in winter.
That's exactly the theme. I mean, that's perfect.
I like it. I like the little wooden box that it's kind of sitting on. It feels old, which I think kind of works.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, just to quickly pull away. Blake made a comment, which is great. He says, no gradient or dodge and burn. Literally a 30-second edit. And if you go bright, I find the gold loses luster. I agree with that 100%. But like Brian said, apparently I said something right, edit to taste. So I totally agree. And it has to mean something to the photographer more than anything else. And I got it right away because I'm there with Blake. I love it. It was a beautiful belt.
And that's kind of what it comes down to. It's kind of what you're looking for in your, well, not what it comes down to. It is what it comes down to. It's what you're looking for in your pictures. And if you can have a picture tell a story without any type of kind of context, I think that is super important. So for someone to see that belt and immediately know what it's for, the stuff that someone's going to go through to get that belt or has gone through to get that belt, I think that helps just elaborate more on a picture and brings back to that picture is worth 1,000 words or whatever that thing goes.
The interesting thing is it's a brand new belt. They just gave it away that night.
It's exciting then. It
is. It's a very cool belt. Beautiful. It has the nice the thing on Kempenfelt Bay, the dream catcher that they have in the center of it. It's gorgeous. Gord says, hi, folks. Now you tell us. What are you referring to, Gord? Maybe you can let us know what we tell you now. But hi. I love that you're watching, man. Okay, so back to Christine's photo. Again, total Canadiana. Excellent vibe. I like that, you're pulling the laces, tying up the laces. It's a classic Canadian thing. And yeah, beautiful. Nice texture. And this is the black and white where you have a little more contrast.
Mm-hmm.
You get that nice pop of the white and the nice detail in the black, and it's not too black. There's detail in everything. There's detail in the highlights. There's details in the shadows, and nice texture in the wood, texture in the hands.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really well done.
I think if I was to change anything, because we're looking at kind of changing things in every picture kind of so far, is I would crop just the tiniest bit off the top to get rid of this. Just that little piece of wood and just have the black. Can I zoom in and make that happen? So now it's going square. Oh, no, it's still doing it.
You can even just hold a pencil up to it.
Yeah, but I can't hold the pencil on the screen. So it's back and forth really. Why does it turn large? That's awesome.
Do you like the flash and go back really fast back and forth and see if that does it? No?
Nope. It just makes the mouse larger. Which I don't know what the point of that is.
That's
does that do it everywhere? Oh, it does it everywhere. So maybe I don't know if you're seeing my mouse get larger, but apparently it's a thing on Mac now. So if you lose your mouse, you can kind of panic and be like, oh, there it is.
Oh.
You're parking the wrong spot. But a little bit of cropping. But other than that, I do like it. And I like black and white pictures where you're not looking for color. And so far, the black and white pictures we've seen so far today have all not made me miss color. They're by themselves. They're black and white. And just kind of expanding on that example of that here.
Yeah, good point. Very cool shot, Christine, and thank you so much for submitting. And let's move along. I think we've got a couple more to go through.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Robert's photo. I wonder if Robert's still watching. I hope so, but he'll watch later if he was called away on a job or something.
Okay.
One of the comments was, love the lighting, Jessica said. And I agree. I really do love the lighting. But Phil brought up something I didn't even think about. Why isn't it laying flat? Like, is that a big deal? Or is that just, I don't know. Because to me, the syrup, the coloring of the syrup and the shape of the syrup being a leaf is a little bit lost because it's sticking straight up. If it was flat, you'd see the entire shape. That was your point.
Yeah, and if it is flat, maybe you wouldn't get the color, like the golden through the bottle as well. Maybe he shot some that were flat. However, I do agree. Again, we looked at this a little bit beforehand. I would agree that we should take the label off.
The little at the top there with the string attached, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. On one hand, you're showing a new bottle, and the bottle has a label. On the other hand, you've got these little stringies in the shot. I'm curious about something, though. Like, I'm wondering, Robert, if he tore a tree down for this photo. Yeah, I can see Robert just going outside, grabbing a handful, and be like, "Give me that."
Ripping them off.
Yeah.
And I do like it because it is. You got the maple leaf, you got the maple syrup, sheets of pancakes.
Okay, so Christine says, I love this photo because it looked like it has purpose, that everything is intentional. I'm wondering, are you talking about Robert's photo right now? Because I agree with that. It looks very intentional. In fact, the wood I think he's using here is either on his deck or it's a board that he picked up recently for a prop, which would be very cool. And I would love to hear that this is like flash being used because it looks like very natural light. And if he used flash instead of natural light, then he did a great job getting the light where he needed it. And that would make me really, really happy. Now, crop-wise, my thought when I first saw it is, why is the bottle in the bottom right corner? Because I'm kind of used to top left corner because that's where we start to read a book. That's where our eyes kind of start in a frame. You know what I mean? Do you have any thoughts on that? Or is that just me being super picky?
I don't know. I think that just comes down to personal preference because it kind of works in the bottom corner. It would also work in the top corner. With it being a taller bottle and with it having the label in more or less the bottom of the bottle, I think if it was at the top left side of the shot, we would either have to cut the red top of the bottle off or we'd have the wording itself, the maple syrup itself, kind of spaced out oddly in the shot. So I think I kind of like it in the bottom corner because you have the wording off on the bottom corner as well.
Blake brought up some good points. He says product photography style. Think shots of bottles of rye and such. They're almost always standing. Brand is there. It's a Canadian brand, and he thinks the label should stay too. There you go. See, that's something I'm not a really proficient on, stock photography or product photography. I'm actually very excited for the Nabi Noom session that we're doing in August 28th, where we're actually doing food photography. So nice. That's going to be a great one. Just watching Nabi work is just really eye-opening for me. So points like what Blake just made and points like Nabi makes on her sessions that she runs, always good to hear, and you can always learn something. And the lighting here is great in Robert's photo, and I like how the light lights up the label on the front of the bottle, so everything's very clear and easy to read. And yeah, like you said, Phil, man, I just want to go have some pancakes.
Absolutely. Especially
Let's do it.
Like real maple syrup.
Let's go make pancakes.
Because the fake stuff just doesn't make sense.
See, you're talking to somebody from Vermont, right? Like,
where it's maple syrup. Like it's
oh man, there's nothing like Vermont maple syrup. Maybe like Northern Quebec maple syrup.
Well, Northern Quebec maple syrup, you can get into, like gang territory where there was a couple years ago where they stole the maple syrup. And
oh, man, the world is just going to poop.
Well, it's just ironic that, we're in Canada and we could have a maple syrup heist. It's just
hey,
can't take it seriously.
Pretty soon. Canada's better start watching out, or else we're gonna have wars over water. So anyway, Emil's photo. I had no clue what this was. I thought it was like falling spiders from the sky or something for a minute, but no. Yeah, that's Australia, right? This is really, really neat. Apparently, in spring we get some frost here in this our neck of the woods, and I think Emil was on the inside of his car or something, taking a picture out, and got frost in the windshield of his car. Of course, thank you, Phil, for pointing that out to me, because I was a little bit lost for a minute with the spiders and all.
Well, I do like it, and especially with the spring we've had, where we had, a 20-degree day and then a minus 10-degree day, and then the next day it was sunny and warm again, and you have no idea what's happening.
Oh, it's just been crazy.
Get it back out.
On the last Birds of Prey session, we had all 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Snow, we had hail, we had a little bit of rain, we had sun. It was wild. Anyway, the colors in this are really nice. I like the sun hitting the window. There's a lot going on. A lot going on in this shot. What do you think?
I agree. But I do like the creativeness of shooting out and showing you the kind of spring day through the ice-covered glass.
Yeah.
Or frost-covered glass.
Absolutely. All right. I don't know if we can suggest any kind of crop or anything that would really help.
Not necessarily. And any adjustment would be just like a complete change to the picture itself. So that might not be
Agreed.
An adjustment.
I don't know. I think I might even, if a crop was done, I would cut it right down the middle and only keep the left side of the photo with the house and the light hitting the house. The entire right side, I would venture to say, would be not really needed. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I love the light hitting the house. I love that color we're getting from that. And having the texture in front of it is going to tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, whatever. Very cool shot.
Mm-hmm.
And Emil, man, love you, buddy. Thank you for posting. Thank you so much for taking the time, making the effort, and getting it in here. And it was a little bit at the last minute, but that's okay. That's all good. Ooh, wait a second. Hold on. Hold up. Click photo details. What do you notice?
I was looking at the date.
The date. November 23rd, 2015. This is not a springtime photo. This is a November photo. So it doesn't really work for our photo challenge. So, wah, wah, wah. Sorry, buddy. All right. So
good picture nonetheless.
Yes. And keep on submitting. Thank you so much, man. All right. Well, I think we've picked our top 3-point earners for this current photo challenge. So what do you think? Why don't we get to our big reveals? Oh, yeah. Hey, Phil. How you doing?
I thought I'd come back for a minute as I...
The world wants to see you.
There we go. Screen cap.
Oh, sorry. I talked to Gabriel today for a few seconds, and he was quite impressed that I called you younger and Joe cuter than Gabriel on the last show. I don't know if he was really happy or not about that, but okay. So let's start with the third pick for this week, and number 3 is Steven's photo of the hockey player right down there. There you go. Steven
clicking on things.
Excellent job. Steven wins 2 points for this photo this week. Thank you so much, buddy. Oh, yeah. Hang on.
My applause button is...
There you go. All right, cool. So second place this week goes to Christine for her photo, the black and white of the skates. Very nice. You get 4 points for that photo. Thank you so much, Christine. And for first place this week, one more time. The winner is Taylor for her cute picture of her cute dog looking out the window. Well done, Taylor. Thank you so much for submitting. Taylor gets 6 points that are going to be added to the totals. And we'll have an update posted to Google Plus as soon as I possibly can. So thank you everybody for submitting for your photos for our current photo challenge. We do have another challenge to issue. So thank you everybody who submitted. And Phil, are you coming back to us?
Yeah. I'm just attempting to not make the thing happen there. And get so I just want to jump off for a quick second because I do actually have a picture I'm going to share as well.
Okay.
And it is my submission for the Canada because it was very Canadian for me. I don't know if you guys can see it. Is it up there?
Yeah.
It's construction on the road because that's basically Canada.
I have never seen so many pylons around fresh paint in my life.
Yeah, they're a little excessive.
Holy gosh.
I have lost what I'm going. There we go. But yeah, so we were, I was out on Monday and I was just driving down by the lake and there was a bunch of pylons and I was like, yeah, it's pretty much sums Canada up.
I thought you'd have some sort of construction workers where there's like 4 guys standing around watching one guy working. You know, where they have that sign out there that says men watching, men working. That's classic. I'm trying to
someone's got to lean on the shovel.
I know, it's true. It's true. I was trying to find my photo of the actual Barry wrestling belt, but it's on a backup drive, and for some reason it's not connected. And if I disconnect my USB to plug it back in, it'll disconnect the microphone, and that'll change my webcam and blah, 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 blah. So
that's okay.
You don't need to see it. It's not that important. Blake's was better anyway. Okay, so why don't we talk about, before we give the photo challenge, let's give the photo challenge.
Yeah,
the next photo challenge coming up for the next 3 weeks for everybody to submit photos for. And it's kind of ode to the Joe LeDuc session that we're doing on Sunday with liquid art. Joe was on the show last week. We talked about all the cool things that we're going to do with liquid art on our photo session that we're doing on Sunday, which there are 2 spots still available for. So if anybody's interested, go to www.daytripperphoto.com and find out more about that. Super cool stuff. So the photo challenge, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking too much. The photo challenge coming up for the next 3 weeks is water. It's kind of anticlimactic.
Exciting. There's a ton you can do with that.
There's so much you can do. It could be high-speed water. It could be slow shutter speed water. It could be tears. It could be, you name it. There's so many different things you can come up with for the theme water. And I can't wait to see what everybody does.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Cool. All right. So, Phil, speaking of excited, come on. Tell me about it.
So there's
Hang on a second. All right. Now they're ready. Go ahead.
Okay. And so something coming up at the end of the year. I was trying to pull up the times for it, and it's somewhere. I have a PDF with it on it. And so Martin, who's come on here several times before, has a trip coming up close to the end of the year, and it's going to be October 26th through I'm looking at dates as I go because that's definitely what to do. I think November the 3rd, and it is going to be a trip to China. Mm-hmm. And so it's a photo trip for I want to close my page, sorry. A photo trip with the idea of starting off in Canton, and Martin was there back in 82, and with daily bus trips to different locations. It's all inclusive, so it's going to include flight, accommodations, the guide, tours, meals, and of course, photography instruction as you go, with photo reviews at the end of each day. Currently it's set that if there's the full complement of people going, which is not a huge number, and I believe there's already a couple interests and some signed up right now, but it would be Martin, who's again come on here before, and nice pajama pants, and most likely myself going on this to give you instruction as we go. This is something that I'm going to be summarizing some information and posting to the community in the coming days. But if you do have any questions on this, you can always get in touch with myself, or better yet, probably up in the Newmarket area, pop into the Henry store, give the Henry store a call and talk to Martin. And he'll be able to give you a ton of detail on this. And it's something that would be very, very exciting.
I want to clarify a little bit about this. First of all, Martin runs a company called Amazing Adventures. Martin and Phil have gone to Costa Rica a few times. And even Navi, who is our former host of the show, has been to Costa Rica on this trip. Martin and I started teaching pretty much. Well, I shouldn't say that. I started teaching with Martin. Martin started teaching with the caveman, but so he's been teaching for a really long time. He's taught me lots, and he did the travel photography session at our photo expo. Great guy. And he's got a lot of energy, and these trips that he runs are really well thought out, and they have a lot of different things to do. If anybody's interested in going to China on a real true photo excursion, where you're going to places that not everybody goes. I mean, he's worked out. I think he was talking about how somebody had mentioned that there was a lot of more common places to go, and he says, no, there's going to be all this other stuff we're doing. Mm-hmm. So he's known for getting you to places that you want to be at, not places that everybody is at. You know what I mean? So seriously, check this out. Amazing Adventures, Martin Ingalls at the Newmarket Henry store. If you're interested, either contact me, I'll let you know when Martin will be there, or call the store directly at 905-898-4655 and talk to Mingles himself.
I do want to put a side note in here that is not related to Henry's in any way.
Well, actually, it's very valid. That phone number gets you to Henry's in Newmarket, but it is not a Newmarket, not a Henry's service, much like Daytripper Photo isn't a Henry's service. I give Henry's a lot of credit, though, for allowing their employees to encourage photography and encourage photographers the way they do. That really, really lends well to the whole, they are a family-owned, fourth-generation Canadian business, and they care more about making our customers happy and getting proper services than they do about monopolizing the world. So, love it.
And so I'll be posting some information to the community coming up. I believe there's a couple PDFs and whatnot. But definitely, if you're interested, get in touch with Martin soon, as you do need a visa to travel to China, and that can take a little bit of time. So earlier you get that process started, the better. Very well said. Perfect.
So that's pretty much it. Just have a quote of the day. And just want to remind everybody about the Daytripper photo sessions that are coming up, which are pretty cool as well.
Absolutely.
The masterclass session this Sunday, and the fireworks class coming up on the 30th of June. If anybody wants to learn how to shoot fireworks, we'll talk a lot more about that as we get closer. It's still a few weeks away. And also, I'm very excited about this one. On the 26th of this month, it's a Sunday, from 9 till 12 in the morning, 9 a.m. till 12, we're doing light painting for the Newmarket Camera Club.
Awesome.
So it's not a Daytripper session, it's a Newmarket Camera Club session. But if anybody's interested, that's something that there are still probably some spots open for as well. You can either register by getting a hold of Ross Chevalier, or go to newmarketcameraclub.com or .ca. newmarketcameraclub.ca, I think. Sorry, right. I've been there in a few days. But check out the Newmarket Camera Club information if you want to partake in the indoor light painting session, which is my favorite thing to teach, second favorite thing. First thing, anything light painting, I'm happy. Actually, I don't know if you can see. I've got a bit of a setup going behind me here.
Oh, exciting!
Yeah, I've got a mirror on the table, and I'm going to do some water droplet stuff, and I've got a little bit of oils and different things and flashlights. And when the show's all done, and I've got a few minutes, I'm going to do some light painting of some stuff on a mirror. It might be kind of fun.
Awesome. So you're mixing the course on the 26th with the course this Sunday.
Exactly, right? Exactly. That's how I roll. I like to try some things out before I actually get to a class, because you can always learn something at the very last second that you think somebody will think is fun and interesting, and then you roll that in, and it's brand new content, and always fun to learn something new.
And well, with the light painting and then the water art coming up this weekend, that's what it's all about, is creating something fun. And I think they both be really, really interesting sessions.
I can't wait. It's going to be a fun month. Actually, June's a lot of fun. The water art, liquid art, whatever, light painting, fireworks. I mean, come on. Who knows what can go wrong? It should be awesome. Okay, so let's get to the quote of the day and then say our good nights. It's actually not that long of a show, considering it's a photo review show. So that's really cool. Photography is a major force in explaining man to man. Think about that for a second.
I like that.
Isn't it true? How many times have photographs shown us who we are as a race? The good and the bad. You know, photos of people saving lives or taking them. It's just, there are so many different emotions and so many different things that we learn about ourselves through photos. So this is actually Edward Steichen who wrote this, and I had to look up how to say his name.
Okay. I'm not sure.
He's a very well-known photographer. He was one of Stieglitz's favorite photographers when Stieglitz had his magazine back in the day.
Okay.
Stieglitz. If you ever followed the history of photography with stuff that Ross and I have done, we've talked about with these guys, and they're innovators of their day, but also they have a very good outlook on how photography works. So this is Edward Steichen.
Okay.
And I had to literally say, how do you say it, his name? And it had a button you press, and it actually said some woman saying his name, which was kind of
awesome.
Yeah, I gotta love technology. So photography is a major force in explaining man to man. Very cool stuff. All right, guys, that's it for us. Phil, thank you so much for being on tonight, buddy.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you to everyone who posted. Fantastic pictures as always.
Absolutely. And of course, just say a quick goodnight to our buddy Gabriel. It's the first show officially without him as part of the host. I think I'm tearing up a little bit. Miss him, which is weird because I just saw him earlier, and he's a partner in the loft, and he's still a Daytripper person. But still, I miss him. He's a good guy.
He's not here.
He's just not here. I know. I'll deal. I'll be all right. I'll get through this with you, Phil.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you all next week. Don't forget the photo challenge currently is now water. Should be a lot of fun. Next week is a tips and techniques show. And if all goes well, it's going to be photography from a youth perspective.
Interesting.
Which could be a lot of fun. Could be a lot of fun.
So different way of looking at things.
Shorter from a lower angle. Because they're little people. All right. Anyway, Nick, hopefully we'll be on our show next week. I haven't heard back from him yet, but that'd be really cool. Anyway, take care, guys. See y'all next week. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Good night.